Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we'll be going through the Richmond versus Melbourne game, in which Melbourne Richmond were ahead at half time, but Melbourne just ran over them in the third quarter and the fourth quarter in general, and in the end, round out 43-point winners, 85-42. So before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap. So, Richmond, if you look at that, it just looks like a lot of just iffy scores in the end. Rioli top scored for them. It was on 65 at half time, I think. 63 actually got a handball taken away. So he was doing all right at half time, but obviously his role, when things aren't going the best, it can really just sort of diminish, and that's sort of what happened as you see here. He ended up with something, I want to say it was like 7 marks and 4 tackles, I want to say. 3, 4, or was tackles on 5? No, tackles was on 4, so he did end up with 7 marks and 4 tackles. So yeah, he really did a lot of the non-disposal work, which is what small forwards can do to get to the big number or kick a bag. Dow, 88, he did a lot of his work in the third, not really a fancy option though. I don't think. Then you got Daniel Rioli at 87, pretty good in the last couple of quarters as the balls tended to live down the end of the Melbourne's forward line and in the Richmond back line, so that's how he got a lot of his points. Bolton, he really didn't have a good game at all, and he still ended up with an 85. Which sort of shows that he can do it, and it was basically a lot on him just being able to get the uncontested marks on the wing that happened in sort of transition, and that's how he got a lot of his points. I know early here, a mark here, another mark here. I think it was on like 5 or 6 marks at half time, and then another 2 marks in the second half. So I think he ended up with 7 or so marks, which really just shows that he was getting a lot of his points through marking, and then he ended up also kicking a goal, which helped. Then we move on to Nank, 85. I think he was just really, he stuck up well to the likes of Max Gawn, but Max Gawn in the end just pretty much took him to the cleaners, to be honest, in the in the second half, and we'll get to that with only Nank going 27 in the second half, whereas I think Gawn went something like 70. So that was a big difference. Vlosten, he went, he went 83, just an alright middling sort of score. Then you got Baker here as well, who went 83. He did a lot of his work in the last quarter to catch up, as he was pretty good in the first, really good early. He got up to 23 very, very quickly, and then I think it was 23. No, it was actually 28, and then 24 points in the first sort of here, it looks like. Or is that 20, what's that, plus 2 minus 4? So no, 28 points in the first sort of 18 minutes, and then they had the tackle taken away and only one more handball to get to a 26. Then 18 in the second, 2 in the third because he had a free kick and only only 2 handballs or something, or 1 handball, sorry, a kick and a handball and a free kick against, and then 37 in the last to save it when the game was sort of dead. But yeah, 83, it's an alright score. It's not necessarily the greatest. Then we move on to, where is it? I mean, Broad 83 doesn't really matter. Ralph Smith, an 80, was on 70 at 3/4 time, and then got to only 10 in the last. Pickett, 74. Hopper shoved out on a 70 with another hamstring injury, so opens the way for McAuliffe to come back, which will be a good potential downgrade option in not this week, but next week, as I think McAuliffe's only like 210. Martin, 66, really was alive in the first and then nothing after that. Miller, 65, Brown, 58, Young, 57, Banks, 55. Banks got off to a hot start, and then was pretty good in the first half, got up to 38 very quickly, and then faded in the second. Then you have Leofau here. I think his score was like 47 in fancy, but like a 75 or an 80 in Supercoach. He did pretty well with the scaling there, as that's sort of the way his game sort of works. But yeah, he did 47, which is all right for a rookie. Naismith, a 42, never really going to touch him in fantasy, but definitely a potential Supercoach downgrade option. But then again, we've just had news about the Soldo injury, so I would be probably going to Sweet over Naismith. Graham, Grimes, Campbell, 37, hit his break even, and that's all that we basically needed from him. Probably the one that drops for the likes of a well, that will go straight to Sweet probably. I may have to actually pay up for Sweet, so we'll see how I can run with those things. But it may mean that I probably might be able to get a McRae from a Bonner or something like that, but we'll wait and see on that one. Then we basically go over to Melbourne, and Gawn 134 was absolutely huge the whole game, basically 16, and the second was a little bit annoying, but outside of that he was really good. And if he'd gone large in the second, this would have been a 150, which would have been absolutely mammoth. But even against two rucks, he's just too good. And what's he averaging on the year? Let's just bring it up here. He's averaging now 124 on the year, which is just a mammoth total. Then you have Rivers here, 107, pretty good in the first, pretty good all round, to be honest with you. A couple of big 30 quarters to get that 107. Langdon, 103, pretty good second half here with a 62 second. But yeah, outside of that, nothing, not going to be fancy relevant, but just one of those spike scores from a winger. Then you have here Stephen May at 102, and yeah, just a huge first quarter, and pretty much rode that out in a 49 second half, did his job. Lever, 96, yeah, he did his job again, not fancy relevant. Turner, 84, another rookie, potential downgrade, is a defender, which is defender turn forward, but yeah, he did his job, and probably was going to be the number one guy that we were gonna trade in after this week, even though he was 322k. Could have been Darcy Jones as well. But now that we've got the likes of a potential Jordan Sweet with job security, I reckon that Turner's not going to be selected by many. Pickett, 84, Neil Bullen, Howes did his job with an 80, huge cash generation there, and probably negates the need for a Turner anymore. So yeah, Howes going to make probably another 20k, have a break even of and now I'm able to actually field him. But yeah, going to probably have a break even, I would suggest, of probably 30 or so. So a 30 break even, if not fewer. I would probably even fewer actually now thinking, but probably even a 28, 27 break even for next week. Yeah, he's projected to now start gaining gaining value, and I could see him clear for 50k. As it's projected that he's probably going to go up about 25k or so. So yeah, really happy about holding him now, given that he started to return back to those 80s with Stephen May sort of back in the side and Lever. Billing 76, so just shows that when he gets the marks, he can get the score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 marks or something like that, and a couple of tackles to get him there. Petrarca again, really ice cold. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, he just didn't do anything, to be honest with you. And a 74 from him. Viney, 72. McDonald, 69. Boy Whedon, 69. Windsor, 67. Oliver, even though it was hyped that his return would happen, I mean, he probably just sat on, I don't know if he sat on the bench in the last or something, but yeah, he did a lot in the first half, and then nothing in the third, really. And then and nothing in the fourth as well. And ended up on a 65, so it's a good start, but I mean an alright start, but not going to jump on him at the moment. And yeah, so he sort of is now going to probably drop another, I would suggest 60, 55k, and that gets him towards almost 700k. And Oliver is a type of guy that you may punt on at 700k if it almost is a downgrade for like a lot of these sort of overpriced mid prices. Like maybe I would almost suggest like a Jackson or a Bonner. All these other guys, you can punt him. So he's probably going to have a 150 or so break even. Let's actually check on Oliver. Oliver break even is going to be, it was projected that he would go a 97 and still have a 134, and he went 65, so he's probably going to have like a 150 break even again, and a 150 break even again. He's going to go down a heap, And yeah, so it's going to be pretty rough to watch that. But he's going to be so cheap next year, Oliver. Averaging only, what is he averaging? 78. He's going to be so cheap next year. He's got too many banker games of poor scores that he's going to be so cheap next year with a full preseason. I'm looking forward to him being like an M3 that jumps up to M1 across the year. As I still think even if he goes 100 for the rest of the year, let's even track that because they've got... there's 23 games in the season and he's already played 7. So that's 548 points plus 1600. Divide that by 23. So even if he played the full season and averaged a ton for the rest of the year, he'd still only average 93. So yeah, that just shows you how he's going to be so underpriced even if he gets back to his normal levels. Fritz, Sparrow, McVie, Van Rooyen, Chandler, Laurie, and Petty. Laurie are decent for a guy to come on as a sub and score that, but not fancy relevant, I don't think. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there going through the Melbourne-Richmond game and how Melbourne just smashed them in the end. I think I tipped them by like 28 or so and they ended 27 and they ended up winning by 43. So a decent tip, but not the greatest. But anyway, that is the video and I'll see you guys in the next recap with the Anzac Day games tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in those videos. Bye guys.